And instead of going to the meditation class, we end up in the Gita class. So there's about 4 or 5 people staying, waiting there. And we just started a conversation. And being a doctor in India, I was asking her about the issues with COVID over there. And the things she was saying really touched my heart, because one thing that stuck to me is that oxygen, people are dying for lack of oxygen. And I'm thinking how oxymoronic that is, because oxygen is so much around us and we're dying from oxygen. I know that that's, there's explanation for that, but just the idea of it. And so I was thinking of what we could do. Many of us are in the US here and we can't do much to help, but also thinking about, you know, what we can do. I was wondering if I could humbly ask, if you guys have not thought about it yet, to do something. I know we could do a monetary contribution to help out, and to whatever organization you feel you trust. And you may have more connection than I do, or talking to Guruji, see what recommendations he have. But just from me, one of somebody who is within this, and another somebody of Indian descent. It's something I think would be very helpful and very heart fulfilling to do something to help our brethren over there. So I'm humbly asking, if you haven't yet, if you might consider doing something like that. And that's just what I wanted to say today. Thank you for your indulgence.
Yeah, so that's a noble thought, Anjali. And so obviously a lot of people are helping each other, and there are people that are, risking their lives as well. And
Yes,
in this midst of in the midst of this pandemic, and
yes,
we don't need certain problems like black marketing and things like that. I,
right.
I purchased an oxygen concentrator through 3 weeks ago, and so I paid 3 times the price of the original price of the concentrator, and because the patient needed it, and because the alternative was remaining the hospital occupying a bed that would be legitimately required for somebody else, and so we got that. So we have been keeping track of some of the local needs and needs in other parts
Mhm,
of the states.
mhm.
And so I've been talking to several people. And so, for example, already we got requests for medical help, and people who got admitted, people who are financially very needy. And so I have committed myself, our organization, to help such people, and we are collecting some data about those people. And I've told others also, friends, that if there are people in your community that need help, uh, needy people who need that financial help, we'll be happy to provide that to the extent we can. I've offered an open help. Even in yesterday in another class, I told them that if anybody's out there who needs help, and we can help. Just last week, I ordered 50 oximeters in the US. I went to Amazon.com. I did some research. I spoke to Dr. Manjula Shivashankar about buying oximeters here. And I was told, after all, I've talked to many doctors, I came to the conclusion that best quality oximeters are only in the US. And so I purchased them, 50 of them. And Saraswati Kuruganti is going to get it this week. I think tomorrow it will get delivered to her, and she will remove all the batteries and then ship it all to me here. And so one of the things I found is that this oximeter is becoming a basic need. And the government is asking people, if you have any symptoms, mild symptoms, you better take care of yourself at home, don't come to the
Mhm,
hospital, but
mhm,
consult a doctor, be under the advice of a doctor, and
mhm,
be at home, stay at home. So we've prepared a whole big document here. Mohini ji and others, Mahesh and others are contributing to that. And basically, what are the things you must do from a prevention perspective? Preventive,
excellent. Yeah,
build
excellent.
immunity. What is immunity? How do you build it? And there are some basic things one can do, and we've written that down. And then you're infected, then what? I'm infected. Then, okay, and what are the symptoms? Mild? How do you define mild? Okay, here's the government, here's what the government has advised us. Mild means this, intermediate, and severe means this. And if your symptoms are mild, then you have to take some medicines. And now those medicines are clear. Allopathy medicines are there, Ayurveda medicines are there. And Bhagya sent us some information about homeopathy medicines. So all that is all there, and we are about to publish it. And that is on one side that's going on. So these oximeters I want to give out. I'm going to send out to some, we know people who need that. And so the people can't afford oximeters. It's 3,000 rupees. The average Indian cannot think about having it. And so I thought the idea I got was that. And then then a couple of one of my friends from the US called and thought, these things happen just like that. He called me and said, I have an idea to make an oxygen concentrator at a cheap price. And so we need, what can we do? I said, sure, I'll be happy to help with that. And whatever funds we need, I'll be happy to support, is what I said. Then a couple of days ago, I had a conversation with a professor at IIT Madras, and he's also developing an oxygen generator, not a concentrator, generator. And it basically generates oxygen from water. And so he's doing it. He's going to test that product in Coimbatore, is what he said. One of his students is in Coimbatore, in a hospital here in Coimbatore, KMCH. And so that was very interesting. But that's in progress. And so I told the professor, hey, if you feel you need some funds, I'll be happy to contribute in whatever way we can, if we can bring this idea to fruition, because we need a lot of oxygen concentrators, not just in hospitals, but also people who are at home. They also need oxygen concentrators. And so like this, we are, I've been doing whatever little I can. And there are, of course, many organizations who are doing a lot of things. There's one organization in Gujarat that's actually just distributing oximeters and giving free food to people who need food at this time, and so on and so forth. So I see a lot of good work going on. But yeah, you're welcome to support any of these organizations. And the sky is the limit here, because um, the more we have, the more we can do, and the more promises we can make. I got a call from somebody just about 2 weeks ago. He said, my mother is infected with corona and she's been in the hospital, and I'm having to pay lakhs of rupees. And my salary is 12,000 rupees a month. And these people, their entire savings are wiped out. One hospital visit, savings wiped out. And they don't have any insurance, nothing. So I'm doing another project. Another project is Balaji. Is Balaji here? Yeah, there he is. And so he's working on a project which is to get medical insurance for uh, these Vedic Pandits. This idea, they must have the idea that they must get medical insurance these days. It's a necessity. And the state government has this program. And we need to find out if they have that program, if they have leveraged, utilized that program. And so Balaji is working on that with some of our Pandits here. And there are people who are in temples who don't have this idea at all, that they should go get insurance. So we've launched that pilot here, and Balaji is working on that. And like this, there is another project I'm doing which is not related to COVID, which is about Goshalas. The government has released a lot of funds for support of Goshalas, but which Goshala is getting funds, we don't know. Whether they know that such a program is there, nobody knows. So that's a separate project that's going on. And that also Balaji has taken that up. And so COVID, yeah, a lot of work is needed. And a couple of days ago, I got a call from, I teach chanting to one industrialist. And he told me, he was furious. He said, Jaikumar, these rich, wealthy people are hoarding cylinders. I said, what do you mean? Well, because his community is, they have his friends and things like that. He says they're all delivering cylinders to their homes, but nobody is sick. So he says, this is the problem. These wealthy people are holding cylinders. I'm furious about that. So we are beginning to see all these things that And now they've caught somebody in Delhi, some big man who was supposed to be close to the chief minister and all. They caught him. So the government is now really tightening the screws on this, on black marketing and holding of the cylinders and concentrators. And so that's also helping. And now they have set up a commission to be the central point for distributing all the oxygen cylinders that are coming from Europe and other places. Okay. And previously it was just going, nobody knows where it was going. In India, if you don't track all these things, they will disappear in no time. These people, we have figured out ways to just steal everything, and it will just gone. It will just disappear. And so now the government has, set up one man. That one person, not the one person decides, but that one person knows where everything is going. You have to know where everything is going, right? Minimum. And yeah, Mohini ji, go ahead.
That's one of my concerns. There is no problem contributing. Like through the RP, we contributed $2 million here, and everybody is literally ready to financially contribute, but we don't know where the funds are going. If you can suggest us some organizations that are truly committed, and I know that these funds will go to the common people or affected people at least, I can collect a lot of funds from here. A lot of people are willing to donate funds, but the problem is we have donated to some like Seva or the PM's fund. A lot of people have donated, but then after donation we come to know that probably it will not reach the people. So then it is very disheartening afterwards to know that the purpose of that is not like we didn't accomplish that.
So
So
Mohini ji, I was thinking, I had the same concern. I was thinking the best person that is send it to our Guruji and let
exactly,
him.
that's why I texted him to. I don't know if you got my text, Jay Kumarji. I asked you to suggest any organizations. If you do it also, we are glad to contribute to you.
Yeah, send it to
So
him. He
please,
will make the
yeah,
best.
please let us know. It is, we want somebody who we can trust.
Right, right. And who better to trust than
Yeah,
him, because I
definitely,
know, yeah,
definitely.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So Mahesh, you wanted to say something.
I got a week or 10 days ago an email from Aim for Seva, and they have teamed up with the Seva International. This was about 2 weeks ago, and 3 days ago, I attended a meeting, or 3 or 4 days ago. They have shipped 4,300 oxygen concentrator to India.
Yes.
So what they're saying, money is not the problem solver, because even if you give tons of money, there's no way to procure them there. So material is more important than money.
No, but what I'm thinking is for the poor people who cannot
That is right.
hospitalizations or vaccines or even medications, we can use it towards those kind of things, like funds
but
for
like,
people.
for example, I heard that remdesivir and all those things are not available, or either very expensive or something.
Well, now I've heard it is being hoarded. The lot of help is coming again. This is the thing, vaccines wise. If the oxygen thing is coming into open, now they're trying to do black marketing for the vaccines and everything else. So it is.
But this
really
was something. It was a huge shipment. About 4,300 oxygen concentrator have gone. I mean, I happened to attend a meeting in Houston. So.
No, a big shipment
has
gone. Everybody's helping. US is helping. UK, everybody's helping. But whether it is reaching the common people or not is my question.
Yeah. So what is in the conversation that I've had? I called some people to see what activities are going on in the ground. So some people told me some good, nice stories, and others said the usual people that do the work have reduced their activity just for fear of being in the middle of everything. Okay, that also is there. We must expect that, and so the doctors, the nurses, they are the ones who are really in the middle of everything. And
that's why one of my things was to give food supplies to the people who cannot, are being treated at home. They cannot cook for themselves. But that went away, fizzled out really quickly, because there's nobody who wants to go and give it to their houses because the infection is there. Like you said, people don't want to go out and be there to help them.
So there are several centers where, in fact, I sent money just recently to to a center where the Annadhanam is done every day. And so give more and more food so people can come. So there they don't, they used to go out in the last year
If
when
you can suggest those places to us, Jaykumarji, then maybe we can think about it.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So we can, we are looking at more opportunities to do it. And there are organizations raising funds. Okay, funds are coming in. Uh, but how it's being used is still my concern.
Right.
And
Right.
if the oxygen cylinders are not reaching the right place, if the concentrators are still sitting somewhere in some godowns, and then we have a problem. So that's why yesterday I was talking to Swami Paramanandaji. Swami Paramanandaji and I have been working for 20 years now, and he lives in Tiruvannamalai and Namakkal, one of these two places, Kollimalai. So he works in the field constantly, and whenever there is some kind of a problem like floods and all that, he goes immediately. He has the ability to just muster resources and make food for 10,000 people. Okay, he's gifted with this ability, and so he will do that. And so he can get into the where there are floods, he will find a way to get there and do all these things. So I was talking to him just yesterday, and he was also saying, yeah, this we are, about this commission that has come up, the center is set up, and that's the best thing that has happened. And uh, and he's also doing a lot of work. And so we were finding a way to collaborate, and I told him, I promised funds to him, so he can also use those funds properly. So I'm connecting to people of this nature. I called my friend Vimal in Kerala, and they are doing some work out there. Kerala is managing the pandemic well, it seems, reasonably well. I mean, it's well is a very it's a very subjective now. It got worse. Kerala also is struggling, and so we need to check how Kerala is doing. But it
They
seems
don't have oxygen shortage, I believe. Right? They have oxygen surplus
Yeah,
or something.
that's the only state that doesn't have oxygen shortage. That's what I heard too.
yeah, yeah.
Kerala.
So
So
that
is it just well managed? I mean, what
Yeah,
is the
well
difference?
managed.
It's well
No, there
managed,
are a
yeah?
lot of oxygen producers in Kerala because the
Ah,
Kerala,
fertilizer
the
facilities.
state has set up a central committee to manage supply and demand of oxygen. That is why there is no shortage. Okay.
ah,
That is also one of the reasons. Like Mahesh said, maybe there is some manufacturing there, I'm not sure. But
Yeah, a
you
lot
need
of
somebody to
manufacturing.
manage it, right? When there's a shortage of these things, remdesivir, somebody needs to manage it properly so it's not sold. So we saw all these videos of doctors also colluding with agents, and then forcing people to pay 30,000, 40,000 rupees for a one vial of remdesivir, right? So we're hearing all kinds of stories from friends, from relatives, from unknown people. Everybody's going through that. So I hear you, Anjali, and so yeah, I will. What I'm doing is very limited, and there are other people that are doing a lot more. So I'll try and find more ways to connect to the right people. And if I find any such people, I'll let you all know. And
yes.
these two things. Uh, this making of oxygen concentrator that is affordable, uh, it's important. We have to do it. It may take a while because it has to go through all these regulatory approvals. Suppose even if it is working, even if you have a nice working prototype, it has to get our government approvals and things like that. So that process is always there. But I said I'd rather we start now, and it's not an expensive proposition. And then that friend, what he did was he found a businessman who was willing to take up the ventilator idea. He had another idea to make a ventilator, and so that businessman has taken it up, and he's using his company to make that ventilator. And so we need those kinds of people to make to fast track this process,
Yeah,
because we can't wait forever. And
yeah.
hopefully the government will look at it and say, yeah, this is a necessary, this is a product that's needed to stem this emergency. And so maybe they will, allow us to test. I'm going to talk to the professor again about this one. He did say that the government is somewhat slow in providing approvals to this thing and things like that. So we have to, get our act together on this. And
Well, I think that
Like,
grassroots efforts like what you're doing, Jaykumarji, and there's less waste, there's more authenticity, and there's more honesty, and it goes directly to the people. Because what somebody was talking about, worried about, I think Mohaniji was talking about, the corruption there basically is, and the idea of, you're sending stuff and where it's going. And even if we're sending money, the idea that if they have a lot of supply, grassroots efforts like what you're doing can utilize, even if we send $10, you can utilize that to help even one family. But you're within the community, and you can send it, because we can't do much from over here, but we want to help. But you and people like you are positioned in a really good place to be, to do the most good. I was also really interested in what Save Aim for Save was doing, and somebody said that they're working um, hard on this in this project, which I'm happy about also.
so one thing I'm definitely going to do is provide subsistence allowance to migrant laborers and daily wage laborers and things like that, because they are the ones who lose out in this whole game.
Right.
And they don't, if they don't have work on a given day, they'll lost 500 rupees, 1,000 rupees. And
Yeah.
so that I'm paying attention to that. Last time we did it, and this time also I'm going to do it. And so that's the minimum we can do. So they are not in the hospital, but they are at home, and they don't have any way to fill up their stomachs. So we have to definitely do that. And people, our Vedic Pandits also, many of them are in that category, because nobody is inviting them to do rituals at home now.
Right.
So they
Right.
don't have any income, period. And I spoke to a couple of people. They said, no, it's very difficult. So last time, several months ago, I did that through our trust. This time also, I'm going to launch it. As in a few classes, I mentioned it, that if you guys knew anybody, let us know, and I'll be happy to fund them. And so that's going to take up, because rather than wait for some, I may never hear somebody saying I need an oxygen concentrator. I don't know how I'm going to hear that. We don't know. I can put a word out, and hope people who need will reach us. But this one, I think, is easier to help people financially. I think that might be something that is doable. And so I will keep you posted on that. But that's open. I have given an open offer to people here in certain groups, in WhatsApp groups and so forth. So they already, I got a call from somebody whose wife was admitted by COVID, and then wanted money. So the job now becomes, if that is the case, then we have to assess the case, whether somebody is trying to exploit the system or what. So we have to make some calls and things like that. But if it is
Yeah.
coming from known sources, then we will
Right.
take that up, and not worry too much about this at this time.
Right. Right. I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah.
Thank you for what you're doing. I appreciate that you have your hands in it, although we're far away, we can't do what you're doing. So I appreciate what you're doing, and we're
Balaji, you have
behind.
something to say?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just listening to all. I'm so glad that everybody, has want to help in this. So, I mean, what I felt was, there is this media in India, especially, is contributing to a collective cynicism, especially with people outside the country, and they're painting a very bad picture. And I don't know if it is a reality, but even if it is a reality, I think cynicism and will only make us feel helpless. And I don't think it'll help. So if we can convert our all this and not spread cynicism, and convert
Yes.
it to we can do something, we can help this out, we should help this out. If we are truly belonging to the country, we should, at heart, we should help this out. That kind of attitude is going to help much more than being cynical and thinking we are helpless in this.
Yeah. Yeah. And some of my other friends also, in my alumni association, a few of them offered to donate, etc. So they have actually, I've asked them to send the money to my personal account. And Mohan, I don't know if Mohan Sai is here, and so Mohan Sai is keeping track of those incomes, and so that I can keep track of it. And then because a US citizen cannot contribute to our trust. Okay. So, so US citizens, if they want to do, they can either give it to our trust 501c3 in Houston, and which will take its time to come. It may take a month for that money to reach Swamiji. It will go to Swamiji, and then I'll have to ask Swamiji to pay for any of our donations. So that is okay. Nothing wrong with that. I think. But if the cash is with me, I just transferred $6,000 from my personal account just a week ago, because I needed that cash just in case I had to do something. And so if I get the money in my personal account, then we can keep track of all the incomes, and the money is readily available to me. So you are welcome to consider that option. But I'll keep looking, keep on the lookout, and I'm still on the lookout on people who are efficient in finding those who need help. We have to help people when they need help. And 1 week is too late. 1 day is too late. So ideally, we should do that. So I'm still on the lookout. So I'm still that is very much there in the mind. I've dropped a lot of my classes because of this, and I've been mostly on the phone. And Mohini oxygen. Mohini ji need oxygen in Kakinada and Hyderabad and all that. And poor Mohini, she's sitting in Columbus. How is she going to know? But she knows a lot, and so I'm amazed. And
no, we're trying to help. I am just doing very minimal. Whatever I'm doing is nothing, Jayakumarji. You guys are there in the field and doing it all. What I've done is just given information and things like that. That's nothing. I feel bad that I'm not there.
In my search for oxygen cylinders, I found something interesting. I made all these calls, and huge prices, sky high prices. And I called this man, Aditya, and everybody was offering, asking for 50,000 rupees for a 47-liter oxygen cylinder. Okay. Now this man says, I have a 200-liter cylinder, which is what Mary's mother needed, and he was offering for 34,000 rupees. And I said, what is it? And then he's telling his own story. My mother passed away in COVID, so I'm doing a service to society and all that. And I said, great. And so this man is distributing free food to people who are, doesn't matter rich or poor, any food. If you want food, you let me know, sir. I will give you the food. Like that, he says. So in between all this, we see all these gems who are actually serving the community.
I'll contact him again then.
Look at that. Look at this also. Like this, in this conversation, we come to know about all these things. And so I told him, yeah, go and give the food, and we'll give it to you free. I said, no, I don't want anything free. Tell me what's we'll pay you. And in fact, I'll donate for your cause. Like that, he said. Then he said, if you pay 2,000 rupees, then somebody will get a cylinder. Okay, that is where the conversation ended. But I need to continue that conversation. Tell me more. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by 2,000 rupees a cylinder? If we can do that, we'll supply. We'll order 2,000 cylinders. If you can get 500 cylinders, I'll sponsor it. I'll tell him that. And so that man, we've already vetted it. He's pretty sincere, and he was a cricket player, IPL cricket player, Punjab, Hyderabad, and what is the other state? Mumbai, I think. And then he quit all that, and then he traveled to Amazon rainforest, and then he goes around. He comes to Burma, and then he catches a python in Burma, and so he says, for the 8 years, I have a Burmese python in my house. Is what he says. He's all this kind of person. So he was talking and talking and talking. I think he's genuine, because a person who's ready to black market and make money will not have time to have these kinds of conversations. Correct?
Yes.
And UPSC exam, and I asked him, what are you going to do with it? Then he says he wants to get into the Ministry of External Affairs, and I passed the exam, and so this COVID has put slowed things down, etc., etc. So very nice man. And so I could, I'm going to use him also, and through him also we can do some service. So it's these kinds of things are happening. So I keep you all posted. I don't have time to keep you posted also. That's the other thing. And so I've been always wanting to say something, write something, but this past.
So I even heard that there are families who they buy a cylinder for whatever reason, they may not need it, they just want to keep it for, for some reason. So people are trying to, in the sphere of not having oxygen, people are buying cylinders and keeping it at home, which is not at all needed. you know.
Yeah.
Jaykumar, there was also some news about a drug that they approved that will reduce the need for oxygen and all that, right?
Correct. The DRDO has come
Yeah,
up.
I mean,
Has
has,
or something new drug.
It
Yeah.
was approved. Yeah,
yeah.
Cancer-based.
Is that not in the market yet? I mean, why is?
not yet.
No. They said the trials are going on and it should be out very soon. 3 days or 4
Very
days.
soon, they said. Within a few days.
2 days.
Okay.
Yeah. So very shortly it should be out.
Few days. Shortly.
Yeah, some glucose pathway, this and that, some technical stuff they had written. So we need to look into that. What is unique about that medicine?
Yeah.
think that
Hopefully
only
that will take out the black market for oxygen concentrators and all that.
No, but that only works for 60 and above people, it seems.
Oh,
That's what they
okay.
say.
I see.
Oh, really? Hmm.
Yeah.
So the other thing is, it's like this prone breathing technique. I think so. I've suggested this to several people, friends and others who were infected, and one of them, 3 of them now vouch for it, and they said prone breathing is it. And I saw some literature on that, and some scientific work was done. And my cousin sent me cross sections of this body and why prone breathing, puts less pressure on the lungs, and the liver and the heart, I think, put the pressure on the lungs when you are lying on the normal position, and then prone position, that pressure is released, and so that itself automatically improves the lung capacity by 10-15%. So it's very basic, simple. And so that another person in Hyderabad, and she's 140 kilograms, so she's highly obese, 300 plus pounds. And so Mary actually made her mother lie in prone position, and for some time with this oxygen mask at home. And so it seemed to have worked. A few percent it had gone up, and she just has to do it for a longer periods of time. 10 minutes is not enough. And so I think this is making us really rethink the whole process of healthcare and well-being and immunity and prevention and things like that. And so we will share the document with you that we have prepared, and I'd like to get feedback on that, because look at the accuracy of it, etc., and if it can be improved. And I saw one similar document from Isha Yoga had distributed a document, and very nicely done. So we are doing something similar based on the way we see things. And so we will leave it at that, and I will keep you all posted. And we are praying that everybody who needs help gets help, period. There's no questions asked. And I am in touch with many people who are working in the field. So I'll keep you posted on that. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Jaykumar.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jaykumar.
Sure.
Thank you, Jaykumar.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraye Amrita Kalasahastaya Sarvamaya Vinashanaya Trailokyanataya Shri Mahavishnave Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraye Amrita Kalasahastaya Sarvamaya Vinashanaya Trailokyanataya Shri Mahavishnave Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraye Amrita Kalasahastaya Sarvamaya Vinashanaya Trailokyanataya Shri Mahavishnave Namaha. So one of our Swamis, Swami Omkaranandaji,